gave us many things today. But the biggest thing was the question, what is the one thing I can do? She left us with so many questions and so many things to take upon, and that's an incredible part of a speech, being able to grasp something and use it immediately. And I want to highlight that. Specifically, my evaluation today is going to be broken down into 3 parts. What you excelled at, areas of improvement, which were very, very small amounts, and lastly, a challenge for you as well. So I'd like to start with the areas you excelled with, Manasa. I thought you had a simple and effective PowerPoint. Everything was clean cut. There wasn't too many words on the screen, and you used pictures, and you described what we were viewing, and I loved it. And like I mentioned before, you gave us takeaways. Some of the biggest takeaways I thought about were how your actions and thoughts affect pretty much any goal you have. And so I really appreciated that one. And I also wanted to talk about how you had great audience engagement. You initially grabbed the audience with a question off the bat. And so it drew us in. And then from there, you not only set the bar high, but also taught us how to set the bar even a little bit lower to get to that high bar. And so that was a great portion of your speech, being able to kind of give us a roadmap from the faraway success to now. And I love the way you structured your speech. You gave us the 6 lies to success that you read in the book, and then you recapped, and then from there you gave us a roadmap on how we can apply this today. And that is something I want every Toastmaster to be able to kind of take away from your speech, being able to give a particular body portion of your speech, recap it, and then transition to your next portion. So that was an awesome transition on that. Next, I would like to move to the areas of improvement. This was a little difficult for me to come up with a few things. But one thing I noticed whenever you were giving your speech, you were standing up. I would suggest to step back just a little bit. So I got the view where your head was cut off just a slight bit. I would step back just a little bit to where I could see, I'd say like a few inches between your head and the top of the vision of the camera. That's a minute detail though. The next thing would be give an example of what juggling that work-life balance looks like. I love the visual that you had, and I feel like the visual in the middle kind of gave me an understanding of what you were talking about, how you had to kind of focus completely on family or completely on work at certain points. And if you would have given like a description of like, oh, like when you have potentially when you get a puppy or a child, like you're going to be focusing more on your family than you would work. Or if you're starting a new business, you're going to be focusing more on work or something like that. Just giving a small example. And I would say the last area of improvement would be explaining a little bit more on what you mean about big is bad. I understand that terminology may be coming from the book. I personally was just a tad bit confused. I understand what you mean about like dreaming big and having goals that you don't necessarily have limits to. At first, I just didn't necessarily understand that. And I had to kind of piece that together with some context clues from your picture and kind of how you were speaking about it. Overall, though, I loved your speech. You gave us a lot of great takeaways. I'm definitely going to focus on kind of one thing at a time and take that incremental improvement and to really get where I'm wanting to go. And lastly, I would like to leave you with the challenge, Manasa. What has been that one thing for you? What has been the one aspect that you've been working on in the past few months or since you started reading this book? Have you been inspired to kind of start a new hobby or potentially like get into a new skill or something like that? Just like to hear kind of that next example of yours as well. Overall, I thought you gave an incredible speech, and I would like to thank you for giving such a good speech that it was really hard for me to come up with some areas for improvement. So thank you. And everybody today can really take away from the questions that you were asking, as well as the way you structured your speech and how you came back and kind of concluded off the 6 lies of success that you gave. Overall, thank you, Manasa, and thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.